Introduction, the Ibexa Summit specials are probably sold out, but I'm really glad that I interest someone in discounts already. That being said, welcome everyone. I'm really happy to be here with you to talk about the newest addition to the DXP, which is called Ibexa Discounts. We will look into the API, the capabilities, and the extension point, so I hope I will be able to interest you with all of that. But before this, a few words about myself. My name is Konrad Oboza. I worked as a senior software engineer at Ibexa. I'm in the company for more than 7 years, so quite some time already. And in my free time, I'm really passionate about rock climbing, so I travel the world to find a nice spot to climb. And I also like to take my road bike for a spin. If you want to reach out to me, you can check my GitHub and LinkedIn profiles or just drop me an email. Before jumping to the presentation itself, let's go quickly through the agenda. First, we will look into the package itself, which is Ibexa Discounts, obviously. Then we will go through the architectural concepts to see what stays under the hood. Then we will look into the APIs and capabilities that the feature brings out of the box. Next step would be customizations and a way to extend the package and the discounts themselves. That will be followed by some real-life scenario. This will be about this Ibexa Summit special. And the last part would be talking a little bit about the future. One friendly request. If you have any questions or ideas, just take a note. I'm pretty sure I will be able to address them afterwards. We'll have some time for the questions. And I will be around, so if you want to approach me, I'm open for any questions. OK? Without further ado, first point of our plan. What Ibexa Discounts is all about. For those who work with our products for quite some time, you probably expect another package, and this is correct. Ibexa Discounts will be a package that will be available for Ibexa Commerce tier. So for this version of the product, for this tier, you can apply this package to the product. It's opt-in, so Ibexa Commerce would work without it, but you can have it installed. And it works flawlessly, or should work flawlessly, with packages that are already part of Ibexa Commerce, which is Ibexa Cart, Ibexa Checkout, Storefront, and Order Management. We are building on top of each of those packages within Discounts already. As you can see, the example, once you have Storefront rendered, you will have these product cards, and you'll see this nice badge showing you that this product is 5% off, and you will also see the discounted price alongside the original one. All right, we know what the package is all about. Let's look into the architectural concepts. While we were twisting our heads before starting designing this API capabilities and all of the engine for the Ibexa Discounts, we are thinking about two things. We tried to have those things in mind. First, we wanted to have it as performant as possible. And the second was we wanted to make easier to develop some custom solutions and extend the existing capabilities and existing API for this package. And we were thinking about different solutions. We wanted to also have to switch the heavy lifting to the Symfony, because it's easier to support that, obviously. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to have all the tools available to make the solution better. And our choice went to Symfony expression language. How many of you heard about this Symfony concept? OK, quite a few. In short words, we are basically putting a logic in form of some nice conditions expression that is pretty similar to PHP. And we can create some longer, even complex expressions that will be computed on the server side and will present you the results based on the past parameters. This part, which is about computing on the server side, is really important. This kind of helps us make it a bit performant. We have this computing power already, so this is a nice way to do that. And we wanted also to save us some painful database querying. It's always problematic to have some really performant queries and have a nice storage for all the customization that can come to your mind. There is always tricky, it's hard to design that, and we wanted to have it simpler. It's easier to extend, it's easier to understand, it looks like the PHP syntax, basically. What is also important when it comes to performance is it supports caching. So whenever we have expression that is already visible by the system, it can be executed quicker. And it fits scenarios when you have some not really basic scenarios whenever discount object needs to meet some specific criteria. It can handle complex logic. It will be part of the expression provider. I will talk about it in a next slide. And you can see some basic examples on the expression language. First, we can see that we have currency object passed. Whenever it has method getCode, we can get this method to be run, and then we can compare it with some stored parameter. The second example shows the chaining. So if you have some more complex object structure, in this case, we have summary. We are getting a total price, and we can call the getAmount function on top of this object, and we can also compare it with some value with other logical operator. And the third part is about some function which isn't obviously built into the PHP or in general into expression syntax. So this is where the expression language provider kicks in. This is basically another concept from Symfony itself, which extends the basic functionality. You can register your own function, like in this example, is user in customer group. We are registering within expression language provider, therefore we can use it from now on in order to work with our discounts. In this example, I hit the business logic. Important part is fetching specific arguments, making sure they're validate, and then they're calling some external APIs or whatever else that will fit your needs. When it comes to the discounts themselves, we are working with Symfony expression language under the hood, but we wanted to divide the concept into two parts. We wanted to have an influence on the way the prices are calculated, and we wanted to have under control the situation where the specific discounts will be applied. That's where discount rules and conditions were born. Both of them are based on the expression language, so designing them, defining and registering is pretty much the same. And both of them can be easily extended by adding some custom implementation. There are some differences, however. When it comes to the discounts, it can have only one rule, so this will affect the final price calculation, for instance, percentage, discount, fixed amount, or whatever else. And we have this one rule to be executed, but discount can be applied whenever it meets all the conditions, and can be multiple of them. So we don't have to narrow down our choice to only one. We can have multiple of them. Rule is needed for the calculation, so will be presented with the final price. So this is the result of expression lying behind the rule. And the conditions will return true, false, so either they're met or not. All right. So those are basic architectural concepts behind. Let's look into the API. Again, for developers who work with our product, you probably expect some entry point informal service. Discounts are no different. We have contract, and this is a discount service. This is an entry point whenever we want to manage the discount object, basic root operations, creating, updating, deleting, and reading by ID or identifier. We can also activate and deactivate discounts. This is important because we can have some commerce strategy related to, for instance, seasonal discounts like winter sale, summer sale, and whatever. And we want to have a specific place and control over disabling those. So the resolver, the system, won't be taking them into account. To have more control over which discounts will be fetched, we can easily do that by criteria and stored clauses. Which is the thing which is more important, in my opinion, is the second contract, which is discount prioritization strategy interface. This is an entry point for discount resolving. What is discount resolving and why we need that? In our concept, each price can have only one discount. So the system needs to know how to determine which one suits our context and our scenario the best. That's why we need to find a way to put some specific order of parameters affecting the final calculation and final discount resolving. We have two types of discounts within our package. Those are card and catalog. And the first part of this prioritization is this type, taken into account. In general, this is the rule that is built into the package. Card discounts take advantage over the catalog, so they are higher. Whenever we have card and catalog discounts that can be applied, we will go for the card one. But if this is not enough to distinguish only one discount to be applied, we go to the second part of this order, priority. Each discount created by the API can have attached number from 1 to 10. This is a pretty simple concept showing the priority. But nothing stops us from creating several discounts with the same priority. And what then? The third part is the creation date. So the discount that will be created later will be the one to be determined. Of course, this is a contract, so we can easily circumvent the default behavior. You can register your own implementation, change the order, or attach some other stuff here to be influencing the discount prioritization. All right, we introduced the concept of rules and conditions. This is a quick summary of the rules and conditions that are available out of the box. Fixed amount, we are just deducting 100, for instance, 100 euro from each price. Percentage, pretty self-explanatory. Buy X, get Y. Whenever we have product X within the cart, we will get Y for free, or whatever else with some discount. But this is still in progress. We are pretty close to finalizing this one. And we have also several conditions to choose from. We think that those meet most of the conditions, allow us to fit the most specific scenarios, but this list is not complete. We will still have plans to add some more. The important part is that some of them make sense only for the cart. For instance, we have is product in quantity in cart. Obviously, we cannot apply it to catalog. We need to have a context of the cart to see how many products are within. Same goes for minimal purchase. We are calculating the total value based on the cart products, and we know when to apply the discount. All right? Moving a bit towards customizations. And to make that possible, we introduce another concept. And there is another question from my side. Who is familiar with the Symfony serializer concept? Okay, some of you are familiar. In short, this is a way for making custom objects of our choice to be normalized to the middle ground, so translated into array, and then translated into JSON format to be stored within the database. We need to have a way to get an object, get a normalizer, so dedicated class to make these assumptions, calculations attached to this, and therefore we can be able to compose all the custom parameters within and store it in the database. I really recommend to take a picture of this QR code. It shows my last year presentation at Ibexa GPC. I really try to explain there the concept of context, which is based on serializer. We are basically using that in all our Ibexa commerce packages. So whenever you work with cart, checkout, order management, payments, shipments, you can attach your own parameters in basically all possible forms, as long as you take care of registering. For instance, like we have here, my co-normalizer will be responsible for some specific object. We need to tag it with a proper priority and the name of the tag. All right. Now when we know how to work or know how things work under the hood, I want to give you one more additional insight about how we decided to hook into this discounts package. Where is the place where it is triggered? Adam already mentioned that we have a price resolver coming from Ibexa product catalog, and this was the nice place to introduce our changes, because we wanted to make sure that whenever we work with prices, whenever we call the APIs or index data, the actual values will be surpassed with the discount values coming from the package. Again, it's opt-in, so whenever we have discounts enabled, this will come into play. So we basically went for a decorator pattern. This is the implementation we have it. Whenever we deal with prices, we have discount price resolver. It, in turn, calls discount resolver, and this is the part where we deal with all of this prioritization, checking conditions, and making sure that the one discount is like the output of all of that operations. And then we have a proper new price that can be attached to the original one. Here again, I refer to Adam's presentation. We introduced price stamp interface. It has two mandatory methods: get new price, get original price. Let's imagine we are working with an envelope, and we are just attaching stamps to make sure that we have all collected information or history of all the price manipulation, as discount isn't the only way to manipulate price, of course. This is an entry point for adding some more implementation in other packages, and this will allow us to have a nice and complex information about the history of the timeline of the price. This is inspired, as also was mentioned, by Symfony Messenger. There is an envelope with stamps, which are related to this Symfony concept. We introduce it to the prices, and we think this is a nice way to work with changed prices. I will be moving more towards customization and showing you how to do that in a few steps. But before doing that, I wanted to also mention that we wanted to also have a nice way to manage discounts from the back office. And we also wanted to give you a possibility to register some new steps, some new forms for your custom solutions. And this will be handled by the entry point, which is called Discount Form Mapper interface. And it allows you to manipulate those steps, put your custom fields, forms, and so on. And this is the back office part. I'll be focusing more on the API, and it comes to my customization and real-life scenario on the storefront. I strongly recommend for you tomorrow to attend the presentation of my dear colleague Pavel, who will talk about extending discounts to suit your needs, and he will focus on the forms and all of the steps related. Remember, tomorrow, Tech Track at 10. It will be really insightful. All right, how to extend. As mentioned at the beginning, we tried to twist our head to make that as simple as possible, while we wanted for our APIs to be able to pick up your changes and work with them, have a proper storage and all the contextual parameters. We know this concept of rules and conditions. This is the base concept when it comes to creating your custom classes. Both rules and conditions are based on expression language, so both of them extend abstract discount expression aware. This gives us an entry point for creating or calculating your own expressions. And we implement dedicated interfaces. This is pretty simple. We have custom classes. We need to instruct the system how to pick them up. For each of them, we create specific factories, discount rule, factory, and discount condition, respectively. We have some basic implementation. We can just instruct, hey, take those parameters, create my custom rule or my custom condition. It can be much more complex. It depends on your needs. This is really important to have those for our domain mapper, which is a class that composes all of the API objects, in this case, discount interface, to pick up those changes and apply them. Last step is registering them. So we have dedicated tags, rule factory, condition factory, and the discriminators. And the discriminators themselves are really important. We need to make sure that they correspond with the rule type and discount identifier. Those are enforced by the interfaces, so you need to implement that by adding some simple string even to introduce those classes themselves. Therefore, we will be able to match them with the discriminators, and the API will be aware of those customizations. All right. We know all of that to take our first steps in our example customization. Let's go with some real-life scenario, I hope. Our goal. We are attending Ibexa Summit event. Let's create something which is tailored to this need. We want to have custom, seasonal, in this case, event-based discount. It is based also on referral, so whenever we pass some code, we will be able to instruct the system and apply some specific custom value. It will be triggered by the URL. For simplicity, we'll just have a view where we pass this code, and therefore we will be able to go further. And one caveat is also not only having this code, but it will be applicable for only one specific code, because this was our choice. It will be easier to illustrate that. The last part is that we want to also show you how we can put some custom parameters and affect the final price calculation. So we'll also have some external parameter coming into the discount and also affecting the price. Few steps. Custom rule. It will be based on this custom parameter I mentioned. It will be euro to dollar ratio, because that was my idea. Second step is custom condition. We are referring to the code, Ibexa Summit 2025, and some specific product code. This is something Julita mentioned, our Ibexa special mascot. I can reveal it now. Then we call the API to compose all of this data, create a proper discount via API. We need to find a way to instruct the UI to intercept this code, which will be passed in the cart, in our example. And at the end, we will calculate the price and show it to be part of the order eventually. First step, this one we are pretty much aware of. We are creating some custom rule, extending proper class, implementing discount rule interface. This is the type I mentioned. So this discriminator for creating a factory, this is the part which needs to match. And we have some expression. In this scenario, it's pretty self-explanatory, but let me go through it pretty quick. Euro to dollar ratio would be this custom parameter. If it's less than 1, we will serve the price with 10% off. Otherwise, it would be just 9% off. So this is the first custom part that will become the part of the discount. Discount condition. Again, Symfony expression language, proper discount condition interface need to be implemented. We have identifier. Again, this goes for the discriminator when creating factories. This needs to match. And we have another example of the expression language. We are referring to the hard-coded code for simplicity. So whenever the Ibexa Summit 2025 code is passed, we can react. But we need to also pass the product. And in this case, we will be creating a discount that is applicable only for card. So in this case, we always have a context of the product. We can always call the methods on the product. In this case, we just need the code. So we will call it and check if this matches the discount that is stored within the database. OK, the third step, creating it via API. I know how it looks. It's a small monster. There are plenty of parameters to be handled, but let's focus on the most important ones. Referral rule, our custom one. It will affect the price calculation, but it doesn't need any parameter, and I will explain why in a second. Next off, conditions. We have referral conditions with some specific product code, and this is the value that will be stored in the database and will be compared to the product from the cart. And I call it Ibexa Summitter. This is the name of this mascot. So we should be expecting discount to be applied only to this one specific product whenever it lands in the cart. I also added another discount condition. We are calculating it only for the euro. So whenever we are in the storefront in the context of euro, we are calculating prices only for that. This is our entry point. And the last important part on this slide is this small parameter. And probably you remember I mentioned serializable context. This is the place where we can put all the parameters we want, unless we know how to normalize them. This is the slide I showed you before. And therefore, we can affect the price calculation effectively. This will be taken into account, and the referral rule will be available to pick it up and change the price accordingly. All right, there are 2 steps left. First, we need to handle referral. I just overridden the card view. Again, important part. We are passing the discount code via URL, so we are getting it from there. We are attaching it to the context, but this time of card. And then we are updating the card that is currently processed with this specific value. I mentioned before that this serializable context is part of each and every of the Ibexa Commerce packages, and discounts are no different. They will be able to also check the cart parameters into account. So this is another entry point where you can put your customization. If you are able to fetch a proper cart and update its context, this will also affect conditions, rule, and so on and so forth. And few more words about the last step. I mentioned that our custom parameter will be based on the ratio euro to dollar, and this is something that can be done in a million ways. We can, for instance, have a cron, which calls a service that fetches the value of euro, value of dollar, calculate the ratio, and update via discount set context our specific discount object. This can be done in different services. It can be done by conditions, but this is one of the ideas that I wanted to show you. Again, this parameter will be affecting the price calculation. Okay, let's sum the whole thing up. This is our Ibexa Summit specials. As mentioned, they are sold out, so I can't promise you that you'll be getting this mascot. This is for the event, so this little fellow is called Ibexa Summiter. We have a product code, and whenever we land in the card with this little mascot, we will be triggering the discount. Custom rule based on euro to dollar ratio. Custom condition apply only when this guy shows up and when we pass a proper code, which is based on the referral. Again, object is already created, so the system has this information in the database. Let's see all of that in practice. All right. This is a vanilla Ibexa storefront page. I have like tons of products which are discounted already. So for each price, we have 4% off. And this is a catalog discount that was picked up by the system because out of the blue, this is the best for them. Each price is discounted by 5%. So let's look for this little small thing that we mentioned. OK, he's here. It's also discounted by 5%. And I will also want to fetch one more product to show you the differences between when the discount we created will be triggered. So let's go to the cart. We are adding one mascot and one book of something else, whatever. We're going to the cart. And at this point, we still see 4%. You know why? Why it's still 4% off? Yeah, we still are missing the referral code. Again, it should work as we fit the first condition. We are in the euro context, so that works. We have a specific product, which is called Ibexa Summiter, but we still are missing the referral code. So let's put it here. As I can see, the discount changed. We see the badge updated, Ibexa Summit referral, and it only is applied to the mascot. The other product doesn't meet our condition because the product code is different. Thanks to that, we calculate the price based on the ratio. We hard-coded a value which shows 9% off. In a few days, the ratio could be different, and we'll have 10%, for instance, or anything else. We can go to checkout. We can go through the process, and all the prices will be calculated based on this specific context. All right, enough for the small demo. Sure, we can take some pictures if you want. But again, this presentation will be available alongside all the code snippets, so no worries. Let me go back to the presentation mode. All right, and this is the next slide is the one I'm the most afraid about because I don't want to make any promises unless I want to have a really unpleasant conversation with our director of engineering. So let's keep it brief. The feature is still under making. We are still not over with some of the parts. The road ahead is pretty simple. We want to improve UI to make sure everything works not only on the storefront and checkout, but also on the back office. We want to make sure also that all the customization won't blow up when you use the wizard for creating not only via API but via forms. We want to ease up the customization. Maybe adding classes and factories isn't that hard, but still maybe there are some obvious choices we can put together to not get you through the boring stuff or boilerplate code. We are testing edge cases. We also have plans to provide even more discount conditions out of the box. I showed you the list, but as you can see, the options are infinite. You can register your own implementation. And in the distant future, this is something that will be iterated over maybe in the next releases of Ibexa discounts. We want to have a price history, and this is where this price stamp concept can be in handy, attaching all of the price modifications to the original one that we fetched from PIM. We want to also have a possibility for the commerce managers to track down their strategies, how they discount work, how they perform. So discount performance block maybe will appear on the page builder, who knows? And we also want to have some statistics in order to have some nice dashboards generated based on those commerce things. All right, this is all I wanted to show you today. I hope you got inspired by those ideas. I hope that you have some ideas for customizations of yourself, and I'm really thankful for your attention and embarking on this journey with me. I hope it was interesting enough and simple enough, but again, you can have this presentation afterwards to digest the examples. And you can reach out to me whenever you have questions. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Konrad. And do we have any questions? Yeah. Yeah, I'm coming.
Are there any means that persist something like the entered discount code you showed in the last example?
Yeah, this discount code is fetched from the URL and became a part of the context of the cart. Cart is the object that is available for the discounts whenever we are in the context of cart, so we're adding products. Okay. And we can check this discount, get this data, which is stored actually in the database of the cart, have it affect on the price calculation, and then go further with the process. So yes, discounts or the context serializable are stored in the database.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. Do you also store the rule name or condition which has applied to get the price in the cart?
Yeah, we have a storage for the... Actually, we store the name type to be sure to edit the discount. We need to have this data to retrieve the object. And the last part is this serializable expression, but not all of the objects, domain objects, because then the JSON will be super huge, but all on this expression. And the contextual parameters are given in the fly, and then expression can be calculated.
Okay, so if someone makes any mistakes and let's say the mascot costs minus 20 euros, you can see the reason why it happened. So okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Is it possible that a product can match multiple discounts at one time? So, for example, 10% and additional summer price reduced?
So you're asking about if the discounts can be put on top of each other?
Yeah, correct.
I mean, currently we are fetching only one discount object for the original price, but there are already custom prices coming from the PIM where this discount can be put on top. But I'm not sure if with the current architecture we will be able to attach more discounts to the product already. But this can be also put in form of some rule, I think. Might be have some ideas to do that. But overall, we are focusing on the one discount at this place, at this moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not see any more hands raised. So thanks again for Konrad.
Thank you.